the lapel, our opponent's lapel, which is a great way for control because the lapel a lot of times can alleviate your need to create an underhook, and you can also use the lapel as a pathway to a finish. So we're going to work from the half guard position though. So my partner's going to be on his back. We're going to be clear of the knee shield, dropping our hips down, and we're going to work the outside lapel. And it's really not that difficult to get this because if he's got good arm positioning, he's framing off my neck, I just reach down. All I want to do is pass this to my cross-face hand, right here. Doesn't have to be super tight, but you want to get a good grip on it. So all we're going to do from this point now, we're going to start to enter into the knee cut position. My hip is on the ground. I'm going to put the palm of my hand against my partner's hip and move my hip out. Just to create basically arm's length. This is just enough space now for me to elevate my hip. This leg's going to help me bring my hip up because I'm going to come up on my knee. And then I rotate right into this knee cut position. And with this, very hard for Professor Mark to secure an underhook. Because if he tries to, yeah, see, he wraps around the waist. And to a certain extent, I'm going to kind of encourage that a little bit. I don't really mind if he starts. All I want to do now is I switch. Because of this, I have the freedom with this arm. I know he doesn't have access to my back. So the hand comes through, palm up, 4 fingers in, right here. And my elbows against his chest. Right from here, 2 options we're going to work straight away. I can put the blade of my wrist against his neck, grab the fabric, elbows together and choke, or depending on how high his shoulder is, a lot of times you can put your 4 fingers in along the cuff of the lapel. This is an even worse grip for him. Strong choking grip here. The other option is anytime, because this is the target, this hand, yeah, gets into play. We reach for the sleeve, I pull it all the way across till his shoulder is at 12 o'clock. Then the chest drops. Now heavy cross face, and now the weight driving back down. He tapped super quick because of the pressure, but you guys get the idea. You're starting in here. Your feet to this hand. Now from here to get into the knee cut, I need to create some distance. So I block his hip, move my hip out. I don't mind if his knee comes in, if his knee and elbow meet, because there's always going to be a pocket here, a little diamond-shaped pocket. That's where your kneecap goes in, right in there. And because I have this, he can work that underhook all he wants. I don't mind. Right in here. The target is this shoulder. I can go blade of the wrist, hold the fabric. I really like this. This is super strong. And then elbows together, chest down. Or anytime this hand comes into play, I pull across, but it's not enough to just pull. I want to bring his shoulder to me. Now it's like an arm triangle. Now I go chest to his tricep, hug the head, and then the weight of your body coming down. Super uncomfortable.
Ask you a question, Jake?
Yes. Always.
How are you preventing him from moving his hips? Like, especially once your knee comes through and your kneecap touches the mat in that diamond-shaped pocket. How are you preventing him from like sweeping underneath you and sweeping you that way?
It's a great question. When I get here, I want to create some distance here.
Correct.
When I start to turn my knee in, I have to drop heavy on my hip, but I'm sitting back. If my weight comes forward, if I'm off my hip, anything like that. So the point here, this is like an attacking position. So my weight, I'm not even sitting on my foot. I'm kind of past my own foot, really on his hip, because I don't want to give him any space for his hip to go in or even out.
So all your weight's on that bottom leg.
Yes, and you'll notice this leg is never to the side. It's always a little bit ahead. It's like a kickstand, because I want to make sure I'm anchored this way. I'm not trying to pass right now. I'm kind of locking him in here, because what's going on up here, I want to go after his neck. So it's super important at this point, I don't allow his hip to move. I don't even want the guard pass. I want to stay here. So when you turn, your weight goes this way, heavy and down.
So if he starts to sweep, like trying to scoop under you, what does he feel?
But even like this, just try to move your hip underneath me. See, it's like, and that's why I was saying I like this. I like this control because it gives me the freedom to have this hand out here. He can't get to my back.
Right.
See? So.
But once you switch the grip and you use your right hand on the lapel, then you have no post on that side anymore.
No, and that's why when I get here, you notice my weight, everything, I'm always staying back. You are always staying back. None of your weight is going forward to try to pass. In this situation, you want to anchor yourself to your opponent's leg.
Okay.
And it's active, like, I'm sorry, I'm putting a lot of weight. No, all I'm saying is, I'm constantly sitting heavy on this leg. The idea here is I don't want his leg moving and I don't want to pass. We stay right here. This is a common theme when we deal with quarter guard. I go for the knee cut and he holds onto my foot with his leg, see? And the question is like, how do I get my leg out? You don't. I want to anchor myself to him because I know now he's not moving his hip. Then I can start working different types of attacks. I'm going to go after him. He unlocks his feet or I feel him moving his hip out, well then that'll open up the pass. But it's a situation where you're literally stapling his leg to the mat.
Okay.
So when you go into that knee cut, I get in here, you'll notice my hips don't go very high. Your hips won't go very high. Your hips go as high as the space between your knee and your own hip. Really tight and low. And you're always back, not going forward. Not until we start working this. Anything in here?
And you can't put his back to, sorry about all the questions.
No, of course not. Nope. I mean, it's no apologies for the questions. The one option he has is put his shoulder flat on the mat. Okay. Then you're going to pass his guard. If he puts his shoulders flat, his elbow moves away from his knee, you can pass. He tries to escape his hip or fight you in any way, the shoulder comes up, you're going after his neck. This is like cruise control. You want to always remember you don't have to be in a hurry. You get into a position like this is a great position to be in. It's just making sure you don't get impatient. And if we're working this entanglement, I'm going to take as much time here as I can. As long as his shoulder's up, I'll just keep toggling. But if he's like, no, I don't want to give you anything, his shoulders go down. You see how his elbow just, it's flat, it's gone. Yeah, then I just, boom, out and pin. That help?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Anything? We're good? Let's do it one more time. One more time, and then. So it's just a regular half guard position, hips down. We feed the lapel to the other hand. Lock the hip, move the hip out. We go into our knee cut. Sit your weight back. Switch the grip. And then right from here, one can anchor this way or even bring his arm across. His shoulders go to the mat. And we just pass. But that lapel is like it's like handcuffs when that goes around your shoulders because you can't turn. We good? Any other questions? Yes.
No issue with him grabbing the posted leg. So with his right arm trying to grab and pull him closer.
Oh, I mean, let's put it this way. Go ahead. I'm not gonna do it.
Choke.
But I just like.
The closer he is, the worse it is.
Yeah, his whole defense has his hands. He stretches his arms out. It's like ringing the dinner bell for his neck, so to speak. We good? We'll do one more variation from here, but let's give this a go. Okay, 1, 2, 3. When you start going into these controls. One thing that'll happen, it'll be on the transition from my right hand to my left hand. Professor Mark's going to do they call like the telephone. He's going to put his right hand against his ear. No, not yet. It'll be here. I go out. When I come in, as I go to make the switch, yes. See, now there's no choke. The problem though is he has just committed this side, his arm is trapped. All I'm gonna do from here now, I keep my elbow in towards his body a little bit, post with my hand. Now I lift him up just enough for my knee to slide through. And hook his arm. Now you have two hooks, right and left. Then we can transition to the back. All the different options you want to go after. But that's one way you can attack the back. And it's kind of just a consequence of his defense. Out. When I come in, it's when this takes place. If they do that, man, they're giving you their back. But the key is once this comes in, I don't want it out. So my elbow, just to keep it pinned. Now post, and this knee slides right under the shoulder. So there has to be a little bit of this motion. As my hand comes down and my knee goes down, I pull up. And it's your hip. You see how my hip goes deep. My leg is folded back, but it's not important provided my posting hand underhooks his far arm. Now you have a hook on each side, so he cannot rotate either side. He's trapped. Then we can start working back control, chokes, whatever it is you like to do from that position. Right here. Elbow in, post, hip under, underhook the forearm. Then, and straight go after your partner. Okay, any questions?
We were asking Professor Armstrong earlier, but let's say that the lapel in the original, you're getting it pretty far past Professor Armstrong's neck, but let's say you're only getting it to the end of it. That handoff seems like it's a long.
The handoff,
Yeah.
Understand the handoff is like a bonus. You can live with the single grip. Here, this can be a whole nother lesson. Because in here's the baseball. It's right here. I don't need to do anything. I would even argue that if his defense is hard, I palm up right there, then you can go right into the baseball choke. So the single lapel, if you're not having the fabric to transition, keep the first grip and go palm up. That can be your variation. If you're playing with a short gi and you don't have the space, palm up. Now I'm just putting my shoulder towards his stomach so my elbows can touch, and then rotating around his head. We can go into that. Which I know you do that very well. I see you Saturday mornings, so. Okay, we good? Let's go. 1, 2, 3.